Good evening and welcome to Hong Kong Review 2024. I'm your host, Jackie Lim. We'll look back tonight at 12 momentous months that saw Hong Kong roll out a raft of policies to grapple with economic challenges amid a sputtering global economy. Post-COVID recovery for the retail sector was beleaguered by growing trends of Hong Kong residents traveling up north to shop and dine over the weekends. At the same time, mainland tourists and day trippers to Hong Kong have become more budget-conscious and experience-focused, a change in spending and travel patterns that has weighed on Hong Kong's hospitality sectors and beyond, but also prompted the government to change tack in turbocharging its mega event campaigns in a bid to woo more visitors. People everywhere. These are common sights over the weekends or holidays at Hong Kong ports bordering the mainland. Many cross-border holiday makers are Hong Kong residents. Some say the restaurants are not just cheaper up north, but also come with more variety of cuisines. Most patrons at this tea house in Shenzhen hailed from Hong Kong. Tea house managers said they were often overwhelmed by the number of customers from Hong Kong, but it's understandable given the prices are more reasonable and the services are better. Cross-border grocery shopping has become a trend as well. This woman said their wet markets sell everything. Fish, vegetable, meat, and whole 9 yards. But such northbound trips have put a damper on the local dining and shopping scene. Zheng Qinqi, a chairman of a chain pharmacy company, said after the border reopened following the COVID pandemic, they have hopes that the tourists will in Hong Kong, but it had turned out the other way round. To avoid local spending, the government launched a day and night vibes at 18 districts campaign this year. Another flagship campaign of the government, the mega event economy, which sets sights on moving international tourists. Deputy Financial Secretary Michael Wong said every 1.5 million passengers can raise Hong Kong's GDP by 0.1%. Among the first mega events was an exhibition match between Inter Miami and the local Hong Kong team. The much publicized friendly featured marquee players including Argentinian football star Lionel Messi. Messi set out the whole match, leaving thousands of fans disappointed, frustrated, and outraged. Aggrieved, this football fan called for refunds for what he described as scam towards Hong Kong people. He has spent $1,500 for the ticket. The mega event that ended up in a no-show fiasco originally applied for a $16 million government subsidy. The organizer eventually withdrew the application and offered partial refunds to ticket holders. Other charm offensives from the government to tourists included monthly drone and pyrotechnic shows. The administration earmarked more than $1 billion for the events. Upwards of 200 mega events were held throughout the year. government originally expected that the mega events and campaigns would attract 1.7 million tourists and bring in about $7.2 billion of revenues throughout the year. In the first half of the year, more than 80 events were held. They only generated $2.4 billion in spending, just one-third of the annual target. Financial Secretary Paul Chan said the mega event economy was a short-term measure to consolidate economic recovery and promote Hong Kong. This year, Beijing announced to expand the individual visit scheme to include 10 more mainland cities. That means residents from cities can travel solo to Hong Kong without the need to join a group tour. The multi-entry permit scheme for Shenzhen residents also resumed. 18 million people are eligible to apply, but many tourists have changed their travel patterns and spending habits. This mainland tourist said they were traveling on a shoestring budget. Instead of shopping and spending money, tourists prefer taking snaps around Hong Kong. This shopping mall in Tsim Sha Tsui used to be lined with luxury brands. In September, only 3 shops were open. Annie Yao Zhe, chairman of the Hong Kong Retail Management Association, says tourists to Hong Kong now prefer more in-depth cultural experience and try to really feel the city. With a cost of more than $4 billion, the water park in Ocean Park reported a loss of $200 million. The park decided to suspend operations of the water park starting October till the summer next year to save costs. Challenges too to Ocean Park's finances. The park suffered a loss of about $70 million in year 2023 to 24. A pair of giant pandas gifted by Beijing arrived at their new home, Ocean Park, in September. After a naming competition, the duo will keep their original names Anan and Keke. They greeted the public in December. Giant panda Ying Ying gave birth to a pair of twins in August. Ocean Park is now home to a total of 6 giant pandas. The government said it will take the opportunity to turbocharge the panda economy to attract tourists. Ocean Park said the panda economy will help improve their financial situation. Ocean Park's chairman Paolo Pong said he is confident about the enthusiasm of Hong Kong citizens or tourists towards the giant pandas. According to the tourism board, from January to October this year, about half of the city's tourists are day trippers. Travel woes too for these day trippers from the mainland. After watching the Chinese New Year's Eve fireworks display in Hong Kong, crowds of tourists were stranded at the station with cross-border buses in Hong Kong. Long queues as well at bus stops in Shengshui. Hordes of tourists spent the night at MTR stations. This tourist says she will not come back to Hong Kong again. Some people waited till 6 o'clock in the morning. Secretary for Transport and Logistics Lam Se-Hung said the government will discuss with mainland authorities the feasibility to extend the large-scale events are held. After the Lunar New Year, the Lawwood Port extended its opening hours to 2 a.m. over the Chinese New Year holidays. The Shenzhen Bay Port opened around the clock for 5 consecutive days. The government also arranged 24-hour shuttle bus services in Shengshui, with some ports having extended their hours. Connectivity issues too at the Kai-Tak cruise terminal. Tourists disembarked from cruise ships had to wait for a long time at bus stops and taxi stands for a ride to the city center.
They could have done it better as far as the facilitize a little more of the port and taxi service, etc., etc.
How long have you been waiting?
Quite a while.
But even if you got a hold of a taxi, some passengers reported unpleasant experiences. This tourist from Taiwan said some cabbies took detours and overcharged the fares. To improve the quality of taxi services, the government implemented a demerit system in September. Drivers will have points deducted for taking detours or overcharging fares. Their license will be suspended if 15 points are deducted. This taxi driver said the new scheme would give much pressure to the trade as they could receive complaints even if they just drove the wrong way. In July, the government submitted a report to the Legislative Council. It recommended regulating online ride-hailing platforms in the city. 5 taxi fleet licenses were issued. At the end of the year, amendments to the law were proposed requiring all taxis to install video recording systems with the options of electronic payment methods provided. In December, the State Council announced that, on the recommendation of Chief Executive John Lee, Secretary for Transport and Logistics Lam Sai-hung, and Secretary for Culture, Sports and Tourism Kevin Yeung were removed from office. At the press conference, John Lee was asked repeatedly the reason for the dismissals. The city leader said the decision he made was in line with his leadership philosophy. This is the first time in this administration that principal officials were sacked. Replacing the duo are Permanent Secretary for Transport and Logistics Mei-Hu Chan and Director of Housing Rosanna Law. Secretary for Culture, Sports and Tourism Rosanna Law said her colleagues have been working tirelessly and the government is here to solve any problems presented.
Bữa phòng làm Sài Gòn cảm giác giờ nó không bố rồi.
Proactively seek positive changes and tell a good story of Hong Kong's transport and logistics. 運輸物流嘅路線。